Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to a new session this um, Thursday 29th. Can you confirm if you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent. I was making some adjustments. You know that this computer sometimes gives me no, sometimes gives me some nervous breakdown. So I'm just trying to make some little adjustments here. Hold on. All right. Si me escucha muy bajito, me dicen también, por favor. Okay, creo que estamos. I think we're ready. Yeah. And well, in the previous lesson, we were discussing about zero definite and indefinite articles. Also, we've been dealing with the book reports in general, and together with vocabulary, which was about bureaucracy, politics and bureaucracy. And we're finishing unit number 1, which is about, in this case, living in a society. You know, we've been doing some, comments, or, for example, criticizing the system and stuff like that, which is really good, and so on. And today we should, in this case, we're gonna do a sort of kickstart to unit number 2, because today is pretty much like the last class of this week, and tomorrow at midnight you should be sending me your book reports. If there are any questions about unit 1, about the book report, just let me know. Type something in the chat room, or you can use the microphone. Okay. So let me show you about the new unit that we're about to start, right? Hold on a sec. Here. So as I told you, unit 1 was right here in the syllabus. You know, we've done pretty much everything here, and the grammatical, in this case, or the grammar contents, the lexical contents, and the functional contents with the book report. Okay, I've checking out I'm kind of giving overlooks to the book reports, and they look really good. They look really organized. I've been like kind of reading some of them, and they're quite decent, you know. And but after tomorrow, I think on Saturday, I'm gonna start the correction, you know, like the serious correction, serious reading, together with my assistant. Okay. So but they look good. All right. So I'm very hopeful about the qualifications. I think that there will be really good qualifications. All right. The process of qualification, like legally, I have pretty much like 15 days. That's the maximum to make the corrections and upload the marks, right? Um, sometimes I use like the whole uh, deadline, because I got a lot of work, correct reading and correcting like about more than 100 works, I mean, and papers is kind of exhausting, but sometimes I finish at the 10th day, or sometimes it takes like 1 week, no more than that. So it depends. So I'm gonna let you know. But I guess your marks will be about the within the first 2 weeks of May. Okay, you're gonna see your first mark in DELI, in the curso escrito. All right, so unit number 2 in this case, it's about society and media. So unit 1 was living in a society, and unit 2 is about the media and how it impacts society. And we're gonna start watching like an introductory video about the media and the power that it has over the people's opinions, public opinion. And then here we go. Here we go. I will leave you with the video right now. Hold on, creo que no se ve tan bien. I'm gonna try to improve the quality. Much better. It's not 4K, but it's something. Yeah, but no voy a leer el chat por ahora, a ver si no me va a empezar a reír. All right. Well, this video was kind of fast, so we're going to dissect some of the sections here. And let's talk about it a little bit, okay? First part says the power of media information and the responsibility of the, I suppose. The users are also known as netizens, right? You know that everybody are like here is a citizen of a country, of a nation, but at the same time we are netizens of the, in this case, internet nation. All right. And the phenomenon of the netizens around the world is quite interesting because um, we when we dive into the net, uh, sometimes we become different people. I'm not saying that you become different people, but some people around the world they feel that they get the license to do whatever they want in the net. All right. Um, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. You know that there are hackers, there are crackers, and there is a lot of illegal behavior on the web, but also we can do a lot of good using the social media. I'm talking about social networks and stuff like that, because they are part of the big media concept today. I remember that in the past was the television, um was the radio and newspapers. But today this concept of the media has expanded to the internet and the web pages and apps, so it's in constant evolution. So but the concept is pretty much like how we convey information, how we communicate through these digital venues, and how and what are the messages that we transmit. um I think that's pretty much the key, the message that we are trying to convey to others. um, and of course there should be responsibility and accountability about what people do, on the media, especially when you damage the maybe the reputation or the image of somebody who's good and honest. But at the same time we can do a lot of social justice when we want to maybe punish some um, you know um, people or uh, criminals through the cancel culture and so on. you know so again, it could be a really good thing if we think about that, but at the same time we need to be responsible when we talk about other people. Okay. um and a lot of people feel that they can be trolls, or they can be in this case yeah, trolls, and pretty much ruin the life of anybody, which is not good. um Another section here of the about the video is this one. um Media, in this case, and information has been around the 21st century. This is not so true, because the definition of media started in the 20th century, not in the 21st century. But anyway, um, the media is relevant. It is, all the different means, of information. It's part of our daily life, pretty much like big channels like CNN or RT. They all have, for example, their accounts on Instagram, Twitter, um, Facebook, and it's a very, in this case, immediate um, way to reach readers, for example, um, and the people in general. And I think one of the most important, in this case, functions or purpose of the media is to shape people's opinion. or inform, but in fact, as a matter of fact, what they do is to shape people's opinion. The political powers, they know that, that um, they can shape people's minds. So there there's a problem when some political or hidden powers, they try to manipulate the people using the media, using social networks, TV channels, newspapers, radio programs, etc. Broadcasting things that maybe can be beneficial to some interests, but not exactly the people. So there are vices, in the system. Um, what else? Responsibility or accountability is a tool for our daily life by yes, I think I agree with it. Interacting with it properly. Pasa muy rápido esto. Interacting with it properly, and yeah, but that's the idea. What else? Social media. Yeah, we're gonna see a little some parts of this video, and then we're gonna check out the presentation. My presentation. The social media is a platform that the majority of people use in this case. Today's generation, modernization is significant since technology is commonly used in this case. Helps netizens in every way possible, and we as users has a responsibility. It has a lot of mistakes, because I think this was made by students, with all respect, of course. But I think that the idea is interesting, behind that. Technology, I feel that has pretty much changed the world. I can say that it's for sure. I remember 20 years ago, the internet was something extraordinary. It was something, I was used to, I don't know, to use cassettes, for example. I was used to connect to internet, but through the telephone line, the literal telephone line, and it was really slow. The information that you could get and transmit was really was little information. Yeah, and today we have 5G, and it has evolved a lot. It has changed the way we communicate, the way we see the world, how we work, how we study, how we meet people, how we socialize, everything. I think about the world 20 years or 30 years ago, and it was a big change. And many people were left behind this, and a lot of people, belonging to the older generations, they are having a hard time when they try to connect with this new language, with this new, in this case, new ways to interact with the world. In your case, for example, younger people, is very natural, I think, to be netizens of the web. My daughter is 9 years old, for example, and she has had the opportunity to interact with technology and with people in so many different ways. I don't know, she's 9, and she has a tablet, for example, or a cell phone. I never had that thing when I was 9 years old. And she can play, for example, Minecraft online. She can do a lot of things with the cell phone. And for me, at that time, was like, I don't know, I was playing in the street. riding my bike, playing football with with the guys in the street, and it was a different world, different society at the same time. I'm not saying better or worse. I'm just saying different. Um, what else? Yep. Good. There are good effects and bad effects about the media in general. Um, in this case, I think these guys were trying to talk and about the digital sources. Easy communication, fast access. That's true. And the bad thing, abusive netizens. That's we were talking about the trolls and stuff like that. Addictive and may lead to cyberbullying. Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same thing about trolls, but not they're not the same. But cyberbullying is true. Trolls are, real, and also video game addiction, for example. I think it's a. I remember um, the World Health Organization, in this case, typified, video game addictions some years ago, maybe from year 2016, something like that. That they were studying and considering video game addiction as a real thing. Um, I remember when I was younger, I used to play video games a lot, and now online I still play, but I never lost, in this case, the limit between, uh, trying to, being in this case, a responsible worker, then a father, and but it's hard. When I was a student, I used to play a lot, PC games, or then online, and sometimes you can be, I don't know, the whole night playing, connected on the web, or doing other things, not only like playing video games, but doing like other things until 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and that's not really good. Your brain suffers a lot when you don't control, for example, in this case, the attention, and you don't sleep well and stuff like that. I've met a couple of people, like in the family, with this video game addiction problem, and and sometimes it takes a hard time to help the people when they become addicts. Anyway, um I would like now to show you the presentation of unit number 2, in this case, society and media. The grammar items and lexical contents are related to imperatives, future continuous, reported speech, WH questions, possessives, and genitive case. That's pretty much like the, grammar contents, and the lexical contents are newspapers and television, computers and the internet, war and peace. All right. So I would like to, in this case, to deal with some questions with you. You can use the chat room, or you can use the microphone to share maybe opinions. For example, what is the impact of the mass media on popular opinion? When I talk about the mass media, I'm talking about all the ways, all the means of information, television, apps, or, for example, the radio, etc., YouTube. How, in this case, the mass media, digital or analogical, can impact popular opinion? Any ideas? I hear you, or I read you.
¿Aló? ¿Se me escucha?
Se escucha como un poquito entrecortado.
Ah, ya, ya.
Sí, por el chat podría ser también, Tomás, y yo te leo. O quizá, maybe you can turn off the camera. You turn off the camera and then the signal can be better, can improve a little bit. I don't know.
A ver ahora. ¿O estoy igual?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I want to listen to you.
Ah, yeah. I think that the mass media, it's a part of our culture now, and it shapes a lot our minds. And in some extremes, it is like the Matrix.
Mm. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I remember the movie The Matrix, and they had, the machines they had, and the programs, they had full control of in this case the world, the population, and yeah, I think it's interesting to think about the web, as the Matrix. Um, um, there is a lot of there are a lot of issues about cyber security around the world. The hackers, they can pretty much uh, invade, you know, any sort of network, and they can even, for example, take control of your computer, take control of your camera, take control of your security system, and that's real. Like banks in Chile, they are under attack many times every year. I met somebody who was a specialist on cybersecurity like some time ago, and a private student. He told me, that like cyber attacks they occur every day around the world. They can come from China, they can come from the United States, they can come from Russia, they can come from Chile. And because you can find cyber criminals around the world. You know, they can steal your money from the bank accounts. They can troll you. They can abuse people. Breaking through the security of your in this case networks, and so on. I'm gonna read the chat. I think it will have a global impact. Tanya, right? Very good. Vicente, I think that media affects directly on the people and can change or take away our critical vision. Interesting. Yeah. Um, yeah, global impact, absolutely. Absolutely. Today, you can find that for me, it's a good thing that everybody around the world has internet. I think it's a good thing. The point is how we use the tool, how we use the tool. And if so that's why I think that there's we need a sort of control, a sort of patrolling online, not to dominate the people, but to in this case patrol the net against the cyber criminals. They can steal your information and stuff like that. Constanza, please go ahead.
I think mass media help us to like create an integrated way of thinking, because in other, for example, like in television or in the radio, the information that they give us is like kind of neutral, and or sometimes from one side of the of the situation that are showing. But in mass media, we can find everything like extreme thoughts and neutral thoughts. So um, we can take that information and think a little bit and say to myself like, this is what I think about this, and we can like um, make bigger our critical thinking with other
Interesting.
points of view. And we can also like discriminate some information, like this is false, this is true, and that help us, I think.
Excellent. Thank you for your opinion, Constanza. And I pretty much agree with you when you say that the in this case the web, the internet can give us a great variety of perspectives, and those perspectives are in this case opinion and vision of about the world, about or a specific situation. So when we use, for example, the radio, we use television, and then we use, for example, independent um, in this case independent newspapers or journalism. We can do that thing, we can triangulate. We can do this triangulation of information coming from different sources, and then we say, you know what, we got more, in this case a better view of the situation, and we can make better decisions with the information. I think that what Constanza said was really important. How we analyze, how we, for example, watch the news, but then compare that the same situation coming from a different side, different perspective, different, in this case, protagonist of the same situation, and then you can decide better who or what you're going to believe, or how to understand the situation, not necessarily belief, but how to understand the complexity of the problematic. Really interesting. And it's pretty much related to what Vicente said, that the media may affect the people and change or take away the critical vision. I think that in my life, I have made good decisions and bad decisions about pretty much many things based on the limited information that I have. But when somebody, not only me, but everybody, may have more information about something, we can make better decisions. We can be fairer, o sea, más justos. We can be fairer when we analyze any situation, right? But we need the information first. So I think that's the importance of mass media in this case. I know that many times the media can be biased, como sesgada, biased according to the ideological or political side, or many times the big corporations and big in this case businessmen, they pay for some channels. They are, in this case, they can be benefactors or the owners of some channels, and of course they can decide what is on the news and what is not on the news, and that's real. It happens. We see, for example, the case of the president of our country calling, the owner of La Red, and asking for explanations about, some interviews and stuff, and it's like, that's so undemocratical. It doesn't happen in other countries. That's pretty much like a um, a sort of dictatorship or authoritarianism, because it doesn't happen in democratic countries, and if it happens, it's against the democratic principles. You cannot, uh, or like for example the army or any in this case branch of the armed forces deliberating about politics. It's not, that's not part of the constitution. Actually, it's unconstitutional, and it's undemocratic to deliberate about any political situation, because it's part of our democracy. So when some characters or institutions start to deliberate or be involved in controlling the freedom of the press, for example, uh, you see that the democracy is in danger. The principles of democracy are being, in this case, vulnerated, and it's not good. It's not good here, and in any country around the world, any country around the world. Okay, I got a second question here, which is, what is fake news? What is fake news, guys? Can you tell me? Any ideas about fake news? Okay, Benjamin says TV. That's it. TV is fake news. TV equals fake news. All right. Silken, fake news are created to yeah, I think to in this case provoke, or in this case or to impact someone or something, yeah, or about to create a bad impact, maybe about something or someone. I understand. Yeah. Yes, I agree when you say that fake news are created or manufactured to impact, and normally with a bad intention. I think it's uh, maybe to have more viewers or more readers, like this sort of sensationalism. Mhm. um, like some digital papers, they want to just uh, cause an effect, and then at the same time have more readers, and then they have this system of um, using a lot of advertising, because the ad companies, the advertising companies, they pay money to some digital companies to in this case advertise on products. So when they see that they have, I don't know, 1 million viewers, 2 million viewers, they say, all right, so I'm going to pay this company, this digital company, so that we can advertise in that web page or whatever. And so it's a business, so that maybe you can create just a, a piece of news which is fake, and then you keep on working on the business. That's the way it works. Benjamin, please.
Thanks. I feel, I believe the fake news can be a real one new, but a state of out of context or with manipulation of the information for the channel. A real fact can be, I don't know, some players score a goal, but in the other way, for the new, you can say the other team has bought the game because they have the money and they are the monopolies and all of that. So if you can take out of context and you can be a fake one of that, I believe.
I agree with that, Benjamin. I agree. You can misinterpret or manipulate the interpretation of what the people are seeing. It's like we're showing the real footage, but the interpretation of the footage, the interpretation of the situation is fake. So I agree with that. Ana Carla says, even to make famous a person, yeah, that's true. When some people want to, or some company want to attract attention, they do it through this fake news, sensationalism or misinterpretation, and I agree with that. Yes, so we can see that in this case, fake news or fake, in this case, situations or interpretations uh, can really shape uh, people's minds, the perceptions, and that's a problem with the human brain, that uh, the brain in this case creates or creates perceptions based on what we see, we hear, and so that's why we need to uh, in this case try to absorb the most uh, in this case quantity of data, so that we can make our brains to really and say, what, this problem is really, this issue is a sort of more complex that we were thinking about. I think it's really important to listen to different in this case perspectives, so that we can enrich ours. All right, what else? um can we trust TV news and newspapers? I remember one of you said it like clearly, and it was in this case Benjamin. Uh, we can't trust on TV, according to Benjamin. And some newspapers, maybe they can be also manipulated by the owners. But other channels, other newspapers, or independent journalism, maybe sometimes like trying to uh, tell you the truth, being more consistent, being more, in this case, unbiased. Like, in my personal opinion, I think that many people, or the majority of people, are biased in some way. I'm biased. I know, I acknowledge that. I try to be in this case fair, and I always try to be, in this case impartial and unbiased. But there are some things that are related to values, beliefs, my personal principles and stuff like that, my personal values. So uh, when I see something, normally I analyze that fact from my own perspective and my own biased perception. It's really important to acknowledge that. When some family tell me, you are analyzing this from a perspective of a communist, I say, first thing, I'm not a communist. I'm not a militant of the party, for example. I don't belong to any political party. I am just analyzing this thing with my own perspective, which can be liberal, communist, or whatever you want, democratic, whatever you want to call it. But I won't give in this case like a specific label to my analysis. And when I say that, it's like, okay, yeah, but you sound like a communist. It's like, I'm not a communist. But but yeah, in my personal case, I acknowledge that I got some leftist liberal ideas, and I'm okay with that, you know. And but the point is that independently of our personal bias, we try to be fair. We have the intention to be fair. That's the idea. So that's why when you talk about the reality of our country, the reality of the world, we need to listen to other people. Maybe they can believe in far right ideas, ultra conservative, or set the in this case being more in this case dissident or anarchist and stuff like that. And we have to listen to them, absolutely. And then you can decide, you know what, maybe you're not so right, maybe you are wrong in this point, but maybe you did well with this other thing, and stuff like that. Try to calibrate in this case the opinions and so on. The problem is that when TV channels and newspapers belong to some political spectrum or some specific, businessmen or characters in our society, that they are hiding something. That there is something strange or weird in the piece of news. You see the bias. And journalism should be or try to be unbiased all the time, colors. And today is really hard to see that, very hard, because and I'm not saying it's wrong that a journalist, for example, can be fighting for something which is right, or because it depends on the context, right? It depends on the reality that you're living in. So we can see a lot of people on the media. Julio Cesar Rodriguez, for example. I think that he has evolved a lot, and having political discussions in the morning, I think is something extraordinary on Chilean television. It didn't happen 30 years ago or 20 years ago. It didn't happen that way, right? But today you can see political discussion on TV, maybe in the morning program, or in the afternoon, and you see different actors of the political spectrum, how they interchange ideas, and then you see this guy maybe confronting somebody who's really powerful in the government, and what you're saying is not true because of this and this and this reason. I think that's extraordinary, to have the capacity to question what an authority is saying, because it's not true. I think that's really good for our society. We need more people like that. We need more people which has the courage and the freedom to question fake information, right? Maybe Julio Cesar Rodriguez is not maybe the best example, but I mean, you can see other people who are doing more things, for example, on social networks, and I think it's really good for our democracy, to have people who are brave to tell you the truth. That's what we need. We need truth more than political interpretations. We need the truth, whatever it is, whatever that means. We got another question. Are social networks more reliable? And with this one, we're going to finish because it's 9:30. Are social networks more reliable, and why? Are social networks more reliable than TV and newspapers? So what do you think, guys? Any opinions on that? I'm going to read the chat. Benjamin, not at all. Constanza, not always. Okay. Tomas, I think social networks get more unreliable day by day because every day technology progresses and it's harder for us to differentiate real from fake. I think it's, yeah. Very interesting comments. Not at all. Yeah, I understand what Benjamin says when, yeah, not at all, because sometimes social networks belong to the same owners. And but I think that we need to, I really love reading sometimes radical, and I'm not talking about the political party, some dissident or radical accounts on Instagram, for example, Megafono Popular and Cyper Chile and stuff like that, you know. I watch the news, of course. I for example, I read CNN, I read sometimes Tele 13 on Instagram, RT, or for example, you know, news on the United States and Great Britain and other parts of the country. I mean, and other countries, sorry, around the world. But I also I love to watch news which are on, you know, popular, in this case, accounts, people, you know, filming in the street, you know, and showing you the reality, you know, some things, images or opinions that are not present on TV. And it's really important that we also watch independent journalism, independent news chasers, not necessarily journalists, but news chasers, que son los news chasers, son como los cazanoticias que andan en la calle. You can interpret that thing in the way you want, but people who are there, you know, filming protests, filming a riot, filming, you know, what's going on in the street, I think that's really important. And then you can calibrate, you know, what you see on the news. Actually, there are many things that are not on the news. You will never see them on a TV channel, never, ever, period. But you can see them on Instagram, you can see them on Twitter, you know. So that's the part of the reality which is very important, and they don't show you that thing on the TV. What else? A lot of fake news, Constanza. Plus of that, Benjamin, the web media can be manipulated or put underwater messages with a political intention or for change an opinion or shape one. Exactly. I think it's more reliable depending on the people you follow on your media, because of the teacher says there are people that dare to say the truth in their personal accounts, and it's good for us as citizens. Yeah. I agree with you guys when you say that there are a lot of, it's true that there are a lot of fake news on TV, on social networks. It's really easy to troll. It's really easy to pollute and contaminate the people with fake things. So that's why it's really important that you can research, do your own research, do the homework, you know, about anything, about any issue, and that might be important to you, and then look up different sources, you know, different sources, different points of view, so that you can say, you know what, I believe in this, I think because of this and this and this evidence, these pieces of evidence, and so on, right? Yeah, interesting opinions, guys. Very interesting comments. The next class, we're going to continue studying about, you know, the news, in this case, the media, the mass media in general. I think it's a very interesting topic, and also we're gonna study some grammar contents related to unit number 2. Okay, and in Spanish. cualquier problema que tengan con el book review, textéenme nomás o mándenme un correito, ¿cierto? Yo voy a la tarde voy a estar revisando los correos que me han enviado. Tenemos todavía hasta mañana a las 12 de la noche, ya. Si se van a demorar y de repente por cualquier problema que tengan lo quieren mandar el sábado, avísenme nomás, por profe, ¿sabe que estoy atochada con algo y necesito más tiempo? Yo le digo, ya, mándenmelo el sábado, no hay problema, ¿ya? Lo antes posible, sí, si es que se van a demorar, por favor, para yo tener las notas luego también, ¿ya? And so on. Así que ocupen a la Ivana también, ¿cierto? Háganle preguntas a la Ivana. Creo que Ivana, ¿no? Sí, Ivana es la que está con nosotros, sí. Porque tengo otros ayudantes, pero son de otro nivel. Ya, así que, please, take care, have a great day, and see you next week. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See
Goodbye,
ya.
teacher.
See ya.
Que
Thank
tengan
you.
un buen día.
Bye.
Bye,
You too.
profe,
Have a nice
gracias.
weekend. You're welcome.